I only say that because it's actually happened to me literally,
My
right? Like I've
dad, that
had
was my dad's thing. I'm sorry to
really,
interrupt you, but my dad was like, there's always somebody watching you. And anybody who says that they know everything, that they're lying. That's the beauty of
yeah,
this trade. It's because you're always learning, you're always doing something, finding an easier way to do something. And you're like, holy crap. Like, all right, now I know for next time. And that put a smile on your face because you're like, wow, like I just bettered myself. I feel like if you could take one thing, at least one thing every day home with you, and then read up or study up on that. And then, okay, I learned that today from him, or I learned that today, and just each day, like get better and talk to someone about it. If you don't know, you know, mentorship is huge in this field. You can go so far in this field. And I feel like if you have that mindset, you're unstoppable. Never compare yourself to somebody.
yeah,
And then also speaking to you listeners, everyone is always going to have something to say, whether you're
always.
posting, whether you're posting on Instagram, TikTok, wherever it may be, in the comments, at work, like you said, other competitors, you should have 30, 40. Everyone's always going to have something to say. Just
Yep.
keep doing you.
Hola, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reliable Trades podcast. I'm your host, Adrian, and I'm an HVAC business owner here in South Texas. I do, a little bit of content creation and things of that nature online. On this podcast, we interview a lot of tradespeople from many different trades, business owners, people in manufacturing, people in software companies, new technicians, older technicians, people that start at 18, 16 even, and people that start in their 40s and 50s. So plenty of good conversations to be had with good people and a lot of good stories that maybe you would relate to. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcast, any other location, please leave us a review. We hope to earn those 5 stars, and I really have fun doing this podcast. I appreciate everybody that watches or listens and makes this what it is. And don't forget to check out HVAC Nights every Thursday night. Me and Jake host a live podcast weekly, and you can also check out merch from my store, the HVAC Nights, the nightwear, any of that at reliablehvacr.net. I also want to thank our sponsors that help keep this thing going. Jobber is our favorite CRM. I've tried different ones until finding Jobber that kind of controls the chaos that it is running a business and still being in the field and trying to get all the billing, quoting, submitting everything that you need to do outside of the field. And with Jobber, we do our maintenance contracts, we do our invoicing, our quoting, following up with customers to get reviews. That has helped our business a lot. And it offers website building and a whole bunch of AI features now baked in, and you can also do add-ons if you have any other software that you want, because they do work with a lot of marketing tools and things, AI receptionists and things like that. So check out Jobber for yourself, see if it helps your business. You get a 2-week free trial and a special discount if you use the link down below. Vito Pro Pack is also a supporter, and I can tell you right now, even though I see a bunch of competitors coming into the field, they are still hands down the best tool bags that you can buy. They are an investment, I understand that, but once you try one, like I did back during COVID, you won't want to use any other tool bag. And the thing is, they have so many products now that you can find the one that is perfect for you. So make sure to check out Vito Pro Pack at your supply house or go to vitopropack.com. True Tech Tools has a lot of their stuff as well. Go check out their website to make sure that you can find the perfect bag for yourself. You won't regret it. And if you guys run your own business, have you heard of CallRail? They are a call tracking service to help you with marketing needs. One of the things that I've heard a lot of is how to get customers, how to get your name out when you're just starting your business. Call tracking and marketing is a big deal, and it's helped us get our name out. And they also introduced this voice assist to help small businesses out when you can't hire or afford to hire a receptionist or even an office space to have this receptionist. So with CallRail in place, they can not only track your calls and tell you what advertisements you're using work or don't work, so you know where to spend your money, backed by data and analytics. And if you're not online, you don't exist in today's world. But they also do this voice assist receptionist that can answer the calls whether you're off, your after hours, weekends with your family, holidays, whatever it is, you're on vacation, you want to take some time off, you still need someone to answer the phone. And in my opinion, in our experience, it's actually helped weed out the good customers from the bad and, spam type of calls that we get. It actually does work. So if you guys want to check it out for yourself, make sure to check out callrail.com. I'll leave a link where you can get a free trial and try out either tracking or the voice assist for yourself and see if you like it and if you can implement it in your business. But trust me, it's going to help you guys quite a bit. Local HQ has been a big help in our marketing and SEO. So they have built our website, they have built our searchability, they have built our Google business profile. And without that, I don't think our phone honestly would have been ringing off the hook the way it is right now. We look professional, everything's in place for customers to find us online, and that is thanks to Local HQ. They are a marketing company that is tailored to the trade. So if you want more information, check out the link below and mention me or the Reliable Trades podcast and get 2 months of SEO for free.
All right. I'm actually excited to have you on the show. Johnny, how are you?
Very good, Adrian. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very grateful for it. So thank you.
Is Chill actually from your last name?
Yep, that's correct. So my name is JohnnyChillHVAC, and
Dude, some people have the coolest names.
obviously I can thank my dad for that, but so it just so happens that we work in a field where sometimes you have to chill some things down.
I know.
So kind of
I know another guy whose last name is Cooley, and he's in the trade too. I'm like, dude, some guys just have the coolest names.
Yeah, that is pretty freaking cool.
So, real quick before we start, my condolences, man. We have been in contact for a little bit. I know your dad recently had I assume some health issues and stuff like that. So again,
Yep.
I'm glad that you can make it, but I'm close to my dad, and my dad had a health scare 2 years ago, and he hasn't been the same, but he's still here, and I'm very close to my dad, so I can imagine, man.
God bless you. Yeah. May he rest in peace. November 2nd. He went out peacefully, and he was battling cancer, all types of stuff, so many health issues, but he lived to be 75. And I'm here today to proudly represent him still and to continue to make him proud, because I was, very close with him, and I'm going to continue to do that to make him proud. And he would be very proud of this moment right here. My sister I was telling her about the podcast I'm going to be on, shout out my sister Heather, and she's like, Dad would be proud. And so as I'm reading that text, I'm like,
oh man,
all right.
Yeah.
I didn't want to cry before the podcast, but
So you've never done a podcast of any sort?
Never in my life. I always thought about starting my own, but I figured, this is all. I'm so grateful. I'm so happy to be here, dude. Really, thank you for having me.
Well, we got an exclusive here, so I'm glad, to have you on the show and everything. Can you give a quick rundown? Because usually we get into conversations about different things, but before I get away with it or run away with the conversation, can you introduce yourself and kind of the work that you do and all that?
Yeah. So my name is JohnnyChillHVAC. I'm 29 years old. I just turned 29. I've been with Train coming up 7 years in April. I started off at Train Rentals as like a warehouse worker / apprentice, kind of not really doing too much HVAC work. But then I finally got into Train Service. I think it was like 2021, something like that. About 4 years in the field. And so this is my first HVAC job. So I didn't really start out in residential like some guys do.
Yeah. Yeah. And you work on some pretty large equipment at that. So you're diving into like the heavy stuff.
Yeah. So at Train Rentals, they had a lot of chillers, RTCs, all types of chillers, even centrifugal chillers that we didn't really work on, just more or less rented them out. And then train service, I was in, a service and maintenance group. And, we would clean coils on chillers,
Oh,
500
okay.
ton, 400-ton chillers, some air handlers, stuff like that, obviously on the commercial side. And, yeah, they throw a lot at you at first because sometimes you'll be on rooftops, air handler units or VAVs, like all types of stuff. So then from train service, I was an apprentice doing my thing. Now I'm in a group called the Train Startup and Warranty Division. It's a fairly new group and train. So what we'll do is we'll start up brand new equipment that customers buy and give them a proper startup. And that involves chillers, rooftop units. More or less, though, I'm more of a DX guy, which is like rooftops and stuff. And then when they have time or enough, I guess, work to put me on chillers so I can learn some more, then they'll do that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
But so you started, like you said, in the rental side. So just working, you
yeah.
not
So
doing HVAC or anything
yeah,
beforehand.
so yeah, so before that, yeah, just actually how I got into HVAC. If you'd want me to start there,
Well,
what I was doing
that's
first.
where I'm getting to.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. All right. So what I was doing was landscaping.
Really?
I was landscaping for somebody, and Giordano Landscaping in South Plainfield. Shout out to them. He's a good guy. And then from there, I actually moved out to Phillipsburg with my mother. That's in New Jersey, and I was doing landscaping for another company, Diamond Lawn and Landscapes. Really good guys, really good company. But it just, I wanted more out of life. I was, I couldn't really see myself, doing landscaping for the rest of my life. And my brother-in-law, Joe, uh, God bless him because he's the one, he's like, hey, there's a warehouse slash apprenticeship position at
Mm,
Train Rentals. He's like, if you want to apply, it's a it's a great job. There's a career there. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, like let's do it. And I applied. And thank you so much, Joe, because you've been a mentor in my life from when I started. And yeah, thanks to him, man, I got into Train Rentals. I was like a warehouse guy, driving forklifts, putting chillers onto trailers, and then sending them out. But sometimes they let me work on it, and that's how I get a little bit of experience. And I've never held a meter or tools or anything like that in my
yeah.
life. And so I was like, learning as I was going. And I actually started school at Raritan Valley Community College, and I was going to HVAC school there at night. And then during the day, I would be, working. So it was a lot. But then trade rentals didn't really have like a career path, like a program at first. And then I got into a train service,
Yeah.
and train service was more like hands-on, working out in the field type. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
Well, that's cool, man. Because I went to, so I had the same thing. Like I never used power tools. I never, fixed things like on that level, like you said, using the meter, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
this was completely new to me as well. And I got into trade school myself, and I had a little bit of help there because, they kind of teach you to use these things, but like going out in the field and doing it is a whole other thing, right? It can be a little intimidating, and it's something you got to put your hands on and to like really go for it because like you mentioned, you did this other rental job, and you did landscaping, and these other kinds of jobs that I don't want to say they have a ceiling, but like there's not a lot to
Oh, I agree.
expand to, right? There's not a lot of there's not as many avenues as something like HVAC where you can really dial in what you want to do or continue your education or continue, moving to bigger and better things or, whatever. You can do the smallest little corner or niche in HVAC and open up a business for that. Like there's so many things you can do. So I had a similar thing because I had a grocery job before. So I used to work at Sam's Club running the grocery division and them telling me, because they would I was supposed to be the new kid learning from the old guys, right? It was just a part-time job. Like I wasn't supposed to do much. And they kept taking the old guys because they were like short-staffed. So I was in charge of that whole grocery division, right? Restocking, throwing away everything, doing the compactor and all that, and then dealing with customers because that was always like a big, heavy, foot traffic area. And just constantly being told you're not getting a raise, you didn't meet our expectations, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I'm like, dude, I'm doing everything for you guys. So felt like I was going nowhere. And my dad opened up his business doing hot side. So like it's not something I really wanted to do. Kitchen work, grease everywhere, like it's a whole different beast. But it felt so good because I was just so tired of it to give my 2 weeks notice and be like, you know what, I'm gonna go help my dad. I was like, screw this, right? Felt so good. So I needed something I can relate to it. Like I needed something to do that would keep me occupied or just keep me thinking. Like there's always something to do in this trade. There's always new things. You're always learning. Like there's so much to do in this trade. And that's what I love about it is like the problem solving, thinking outside the box. Like, how are you going to fix this when you don't have, the right parts or the after hours, all that kind of stuff. So that's what like really drew me to it is once I got into it, just how much I enjoy doing it, even though I failed a lot. Like when you start, you don't know anything. You're like totally new at it. You fail, you mess up a lot, but it was just so fun learning and stuff like that. So that's what really got me into it. And it's just, to me, it's a great trade. You do everything.
I agree. The thing with me, dude, like you said, like all this stuff being thrown at you at once, it is a lot at first. Definitely a lot to get into. And you think, at least for me, I was really overwhelmed at first. I'm thinking at trade rentals. I was
too.
When they were like charging a system or pulling a vacuum, I'm like, how do you guys know where to put these hoses? There's so many different places to put the hoses. And I was so like, I'm not going to lie, discouraged at first. So I guess that this is a message for the newer people, the apprentices that are listening. I've been there. And I sometimes feel like that I'm like, dang, like how the heck did he figure that out? Because some of these guys are at this level where, they're moving so fast, they're troubleshooting, they're getting, and I'm like, dang, like, that was pretty good. But you're learning every day. That's the thing with this trade is that you're nonstop learning from anybody, from a guy from like a first year apprentice that maybe showed you something like, oh, did you see this? Or even a seasoned vet, and you're learning something from them. You're always learning in this trade. And anybody who says that they know everything, that they're lying. That's the beauty of this trade. It's because you're always learning, you're always doing something, finding an easier way to do something. And you're like, holy crap. Like, all right, now I know for next time. And that put a smile on your face because you're like, wow, like I just bettered myself. It's not like a dead end job. It's the opposite of that, and you create your own destiny with this. So.
Yeah. And getting better is part of it because like this by no means is cut and dry. Like there's not one way to do, these kinds of jobs. There's not one way to do everything. There's not a perfect way. There's not anything of that. Like you learn as you go and you know what not to do on the next job or how to do things quicker, like you said. And that's all you really need to do in this trade is, be better every day. So like, and you talk about, being discouraged or any of that. I've talked about being intimidated when you get into the field. It's just, it's a lot of information. You're overwhelmed. It also depends on the kind of work that you do. I mean, you do a lot of heavy commercial and stuff like that. And I was doing restaurant work and I had never seen some of this stuff. And then I started getting comfortable and then I got a school district thrown at me and I'm like, holy crap. Like I'm so used to like I said, a restaurant, like a small walk-in box. It's like 10 by 10 or 10 by 20 and like super small compared to a school district where I go in there and it's like a whole building is a walk-in box. I'm like, holy crap. And there's like so many evaporators in here. And I'm like, how do we work on this stuff? Rack systems and all this other stuff that I was never used to. And it's like, oh, here we go. Starting over.
Yeah.
Got to learn something new. Got to put in the time, put in the effort, and go from there.
So did you know that another sponsor of the show, Diversitech, is probably in a lot of y'all's vans? They are the umbrella that is Master Care Cleaners, Packard Parts, Hillmore Tools, Fresh Air UV, Swoosh, Quick Sling, Speed Clean, Assurity, and Spin Tools. I have almost something from all of those brands in my van ever since we've started. Packard is a big one for us as far as parts. They usually have something that we would need on a day-to-day basis. So the next time you're replacing parts, maybe look at the name and see if it's one of those. They are your one-stop shop for everything HVAC, and they have you covered for your everyday HVAC needs.
And that's kind of what helped me stand out from the other guys in my area, at least, right? There was, and there still is, not a lot of good companies around here. I hear it all the time from customers that find us, super thankful because, we help them out. And I always say it's like a good and bad thing. Like, it's good for you as a technician because you can really better yourself and be, the best that you can be. And that's going to go a long way, right? If you're learning after work, you're putting in the effort, you're taking pride in your work. That's good on you because you stand out. It's bad on the industry because there's so many bad apples out there that you run into. So yeah, I always tell people, be confident, not cocky. You don't know everything. You got to put hands to it, but you don't know everything. And I've seen it firsthand because like I've been humbled, I've been embarrassed plenty of times. And now that I'm the older tech and I go out there, I can't tell you how many times I've gone behind these older technicians that are business owners at that, either screwing over a customer or not knowing how to set a TXV. I've gone several recently where they replace the TXV and it's still not cooling. And I'm like, oh, the superheat is just way off. Like, let's just adjust it, get you going. And they're like, wow, that was it? Why didn't the other guy do that? I'm like, I'm not here to bash anybody. It's just, I got to be honest with you what I did. I'm not going to tell you that I did anything to try and like run up the bill. And a lot of the electronics now, I think that's why a lot of guys are, you always hear that older technicians are scared that the new guys are going to take their job, right? It's really on you to keep learning because the other one I've gone behind is they don't know how to set a board because I have controllers, right, on walk-in boxes and stuff like that. Everything has like a board with a controller now, and you got to go through the settings and know how to set these things. So once I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm going to go read a bunch of manuals so I know how to set these things. So I've gone behind companies because they don't know how to set these things either, or they mess up the settings. Like a lot of stupid things that you would think are common sense. Like you just got to brush up on anything and everything that comes over or that comes into the field. Technology being one of those things it's just the way the trades is going.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, like they're constantly engineering new equipment, at least it's on the train side. Like they have Symbio now and everything is on your phone. And so
yeah.
I'm in the startup group. And so I'm seeing all this new equipment and there's an older seasoned tech who's, calling one of us like, hey, how do you work this thing? And again, you have to put in the time, put in the work. If you want to learn it, there's a bunch of videos on YouTube on Symbio, just for example, like you said, reading manuals and stuff like that, that got you familiar with setting the boards. Luckily, there's some videos on YouTube about learning Symbio 700. How does it work? How to connect your phone and Bluetooth. I've actually made some videos myself, but it's just it's the wanting to put in the effort to make yourself better every day rather than just, I did what I could. This is the bill, even upcharge them. Like I'm not in that position to even do that, to customers, but that just says a lot about your character. And unfortunately, like you said, there is a lot of bad apples in this industry where, they'll upcharge you, a customer or, that just says a lot about them and they have to live with that for the rest of their lives. So definitely
I don't know
want to
how they
get down that route.
I don't know how they do that. I was like, because I've had customers that a company will go out there and every month there's a refrigerant charge, like a bill, because they keep adding to a system. Obviously, it has a leak, right? Every month, people charging for callbacks, and they've been open about it. And that customer, hey, I'm getting screwed over. Can you come check this out? I don't know what. So like we get those calls, and I don't know how those guys live with themselves, but it happens. And I've seen it here. I mean, we run a business. So like we mostly do commercial restaurants, hospitals, things like that. And there's a lot of competition and you see businesses come up and you see some of them disappear. And it's like, sometimes it's not whether you're a good technician or not. It's like how you handle yourself, how you keep up with things, because you mentioned older technicians, like, how do I work on this? Because back in the day, I think you could get away with just, everything was mechanical. Everything was, you could bypass things. You could fix whatever it was, at least on my side, right? Like the light commercial. And now it's like, you got to be a little book smart that comes back into play now, where you need to go look at a YouTube video. You need to go look at these training videos. You need to go look at the manual. You need to take the time and sit down. That was me the other day. But I wanted to try out a new controller. So we have these little digital controllers. They're either the Dixels or the Carols. Like they're on a lot of walk-in box and reach-in coolers now, where we would only see mechanical controls before. So when I get there and I don't know that particular controller, you sit down, you pull up a manual, and you're reading up on all the error codes or whatever it is. And I can tell you for me, I don't want to be doing that. That's the last thing that I want to be doing, right? I'd rather be fixing things, getting on to the next call, things like that. But that's today's day, right? Like you got to learn these things. You got to read manuals. You got to look up videos, all this kind of stuff, or you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, I agree. Very well said. Definitely in the moment, when I'm doing it in the moment and I don't know something and I'm reading the manual, I think that's when I learn the best, is when I'm presented with the problem and I'm like, and I have to do it in that moment, at least for me.
Well, I'm the same way, because I've always said I feel like I work better under pressure, because if I don't know, there's something about that.
To learn it, you have to get it done. You're like, all right, I got no other choice,
Yeah, because these customers, if you do HVAC, whatever it is, something like you're doing with chiller work, any of that. Me, it's restaurant work, residential guys, it's houses, supermarket guys, that's grocery stores and all that. Yeah. Somebody depends on you to fix that thing ASAP. There's no excuse. Like you need to get that going. And as a business, like if you're not the one to fix it, they're going to get somebody else. Like they'll call somebody else. That's how it works. So yeah, they're working under pressure. I personally enjoy it because it's a challenge. It's just one of those things. And yeah, you got to get it going, because that family needs that heat, or that AC in the summer, right? They got kids, they got everything. That restaurant can't tell you how much money, like the product, there's thousands of dollars, millions of dollars sometimes in product, right? So you got to be able to fix things. And that's where I take into account a lot of things that I learned from my dad, was thinking on your feet, thinking outside the box, being creative. Because I've always told people, you can't just go to a customer and be like, well, I don't know what to do with it. They're just going to look at you like, what the hell?
Yeah, nah, I agree.
So if you don't know something, go find the answer to it.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to call. So the big thing with me at first, you got to be able to call people. If you don't know something and you're stuck and you couldn't figure it out on your own, you looked it up, you tried your best, you gave it your best shot. Don't be afraid to call someone who may know.
That was my problem.
Yeah. I mean, dude, at first I'm like, crap, like I feel like I should know this. If I call this so-and-so, they're going to be like, oh, you don't know this? So that was kind of like my, I was like, that's what I was thinking. But I've come to find out that the guys that I work with are great. And that's a whole nother conversation. I'm like best friends with some of these guys, but I was always scared to call them, because I'm like, what if they tell my boss I don't know this? And is that going to affect my, like all this stuff? And, which is, I feel like, normal thoughts. Like, if you're hard on yourself because you feel like you should know something, don't be afraid to call somebody, man. Like, because that's how you're going to learn. And eventually down the line, you'll get better and more comfortable with doing that. And, it'll only better yourself. And don't pretend like you know something to the customer, because then that will bite you in the butt,
That was my closing statement on the previous episode that I was doing. Because you got to be honest and transparent, because, and again, I'm going to bring up my dad, because the work ethic I got from him, a lot of the early lessons I got were from him, because I learned from some other guys, because my dad doesn't do HVAC. He does hot side only. So fryers and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But like a lot of the stuff he just kind of, talked me through was just in general, like, if you don't know something, go find the answer, right? You can't just give up. Be honest with the customer, because if you tell them everything's going fine, we're going to get you going, and you are there stumped, then they're going to be like, what's going on, right? They're going to question you even more. And that was my closing statement over there. Like, don't try and act like everything's fine. You either need to find the answer, call somebody or look it up. Something
Yeah,
telling the customer everything's good and lying is never going to get you anywhere. If anything, that makes everything worse. If you're honest with them, they seem to be more lenient. Like, oh, okay, do what you got to do. And I think a lot of it was pride. Like you said, like, I don't want to call somebody to help me out. I should know this. That was always my thing. Not until I finally, because my dad was the one. You might want to be calling these guys that you've either worked with or, that we know through networking. Give them a call, it might benefit you. So like when I would call technicians, and we can kind of talk about mentorship a little bit here, but when I would call these guys and, maybe they didn't know the answer. They couldn't help me because it's over the phone, right? And I'm a kid trying to explain these things. I might not explain it well either. Sometimes just thinking out loud and getting ideas out, like that helps in its own. And I would figure it out after the call just because we walked through, whatever we could. So even if they don't give you the answer, just calling somebody to kind of talk things out, that can benefit you too. So don't be afraid to call anybody.
Right.
Tech support sucks more than half the time, but like sometimes you need to get to tech support as well on these manufacturers. So don't be afraid.
Yep. Our tech support though for Train, honestly, for us, it's been good. They'll get us out of some jams. But so I don't know if you wanted to piggyback off mentorship.
Yes, and I'll say real quick, my beef was with like the ice machine manufacturers. They take like a day or two to call you back.
It's like,
I've already left. I don't need your help now.
Yeah, I figured it out. But yeah, so if you want to go down that route for mentorship, yeah. So at first, my brother-in-law Joe, he was a big part of me getting into HVAC, like I said. And if it wasn't for him,
was he in the trades?
Yeah, he's actually currently working for Train right now. We're in we're in different groups right now, but he's in the South for New Jersey, and I'm in the startup group. So we don't work together, but we used to at Train Rentals. So then, we got separated at some point, but then we have team leaders in our groups, and those are like the guys that we could call for questions. And as of recent, my team leader that I've been calling a lot is Dave, and I'm actually really close friends with Dave. We hang out outside of work. He's a seasoned vet, and he knows his stuff, and he's definitely going to be watching this podcast. So I got to give him credit because he's gotten me out of a lot of jams. He's also very knowledgeable. Like everybody, a lot of the team depends on him. And I think it's good to find a good mentor and someone to rely on and always to look up to. So you could set a standard for yourself. Like, all right, this is where I should be at. And I feel like guys like Joe, Dave, my other team leader, Matt, guys like that know their stuff. My other ex-team leader, John, he's a project manager now. Oh, I feel like you should always, look up to people that are better than you and try to not be like them, but get information from them and learn from them. Because if you're not trying to better yourself, and thinking that you know everything, I feel like that'll slow you down. So definitely looking up to someone, I feel like definitely helps in this trade because again, this trade could be very overwhelming and very scary at times. Like crap, like this is a whole new piece of equipment. Like I don't even know where to start, and I just feel like it's important to have someone to be able to call and to talk about things with. And I feel like developing relationships is a huge thing too. If you work at a company and you could develop a close relationship with some of these guys and learn from them and gain information from them and learn how to deal with customers from them, that'll take you a long way because I've learned a lot from some of these guys. And it's all because I was a sponge. And that's like a saying, you got to be a sponge. You got to absorb everything. And although you may not learn everything that they say in one day, they might throw a whole bunch of information at you, which at times I would always get. And I'm like, that's too much. I feel like if you could take one thing, at least one thing every day home with you and then read up or study up on that. And then, okay, I learned that today from him or I learned that today, and just each day, like get better and talk to someone about it. If you don't know, mentorship is huge in this field, at least in my company. I mean, it seems for you carry yourself pretty well with figuring stuff out on your own, which kudos, man. But
it was a rough start. I will say I got my license early on. So you do have to get experience. It's 4 years here. Schooling does count, but the guy that I had to get, because you do have to get signed off by a contractor who you rode with or whatever. He did residential. He didn't do anything with what I did. So, and it doesn't matter who you get experience with, as long as it's signed off, you go take your test, you get your license, you're good, right? So I got licensed in my mid 20s, like 25. And I went out there and we ran our business. And a lot of the times, because we were using like subcontractors, and those are the ones that specifically one that helped me with all the little tips and tricks, right? So, he was really great with kind of helping me with certain things, but he wasn't with us a long time either. So I could only learn so much after that. I tried doing, phone calls here and there, but I had to learn a lot of it on my own. And I was very stubborn when I started. Like I said, I didn't like calling anybody. And it might have taken me a half day, a whole day, a couple days on some calls, but I figured it out, right? So I've gone through, that kind of experience, but that's just my personality. And there's different, kinds of people. Everybody learns a different way. I worked with my dad. I wanted to show that I was worth, my weight and that I could do my side, because we had different trades, basically. Like, we had a partnership in our business, because he did one thing and I did another. And I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna do it on my own. I'm gonna do my own thing. I just hate relying on people. That's just my thing. But I did have to open up later to get more help. So yeah, I've gone through it, man. I've made units worse when I go work on them, right? Like, there's nothing you can do about it. You burn boards, you burn copper, you make leaks. Like, we've all been there. So when I have new guys, even when my brother came, because my brother works for us, I was like, look, if you break it, I can fix it. I was like, just try, right? And I do the same thing with the new guys that we have right now. I was like, I don't care how long it takes you. I'm not rushing you. Take your time, do the work right. If you need help, I'm here. So they kind of had the benefit of not, going through the stuff that I went through. And our company has gone a long way, because we used to do any and every work request that came through, like scrap, like all the worst jobs that you can get, we used to take. We don't do that anymore. So I'm like, you guys have it easy.
So something that I've been doing more now as we expand and hire people is training. Something that I've dealt with in the past is dealing with customers and their weird complaints. Where we can get help on those two fronts is actually the software called LiveSwitch. Now, LiveSwitch actually helped a lot of big sporting events. So they have a very capable system in place to where they handle a lot of things during COVID for your NBA, NFL, WWE. Whenever they had those virtual fans, that was LiveSwitch. They also helped with the 911 call, where they can have these video calls and different ways of phoning in an emergency. And now they are helping out home service businesses, because the guy that actually runs it ran a home service business himself and actually knows the difficulties and tasks as a business owner, employees, and all that comes with it. You need something that does more than just a FaceTime call. With LiveSwitch, you can do these video calls to any device that has a browser built in, and it is just a link that the customer or one of your technicians clicks on. Once you click on that link, you get end-to-end video. So if you're interested and you want to check out LiveSwitch for yourself, make sure to check out the link down below. And I think this is a game changer. And there's so much other things that I just have not even scratched the surface on. It has a lot of AI built into it. It is just meant to make this experience with your employees and technicians or your customers seamless and just a better experience for both sides.
My main thing, because we've had to hire older guys and younger guys, I'd rather get the person that's green, that doesn't know anything, but has the drive and work ethic, right? Like, they want to do this.
Right. Yeah.
Because I've had those older guys and they have a lot of bad habits from, some of these companies around here, and it's hard to change, their ways and stuff. So
That's not the first time I heard that.
I used to have technicians where they would get the job done. They were great. I just wouldn't ask about it. Like, I wouldn't want to know the details of the job site, because they would just piss me off. So like, I was like, did it work? Okay, cool. Like, there's nothing I could do about it, right? Now we have guys, and I'm like, okay, do you guys have whatever you need, right? Vacuum setup, recovery setup, everything. I even got them on probes. I was telling the other guys this, like, I'm not the old tech that tries to get you to learn analogs and forces you to use those for 5 years or whatever.
Better struggle like I did.
Like, if you guys want probes, we'll do probes or a digital
Yeah.
manifold, whatever it is, man. There's no reason to make the guys suffer, and we can kind of, like you said, piggyback off this. The main thing that I've heard, because I just saw somebody post about it. The problem with our labor shortage is not the work itself, right? It's not that it's hard work. Like, there's a lot of guys that want to do this kind of work. It's either the mentors, the lack of mentors, or the people that push them out, right? Because they don't want these kids here. That's the problem, right? Like, we need to embrace the next generation, help them out, getting you guys in. They're not taking your job. You're going to be able to, if anything, because I've been trying to tell my dad and our other senior tech, if anything, you guys are going to coast because they're going to do all the work for you. And you are the important trainer, mentor that we still need here. They're not taking your job.
Absolutely. Yep. I never liked that. And I used to work with somebody who was like that. And you're stealing my overtime, all this, and that actually almost kicked me out of the trade at one point because unfortunately I was working with someone who was like that. And I'm like, dang, is this what HVAC is like? When I first started. And I'm like,
it's the people that run everybody out. Yeah.
I was like, is it going to be like this? Like, no, like, I don't want to. And at that time, Joe went over to service. And so I was still at Train Rentals. And I'm like, oh man, like this isn't cool. Like I need to get to train service. And I'm like, begging the manager at the time, Eric, I'm like, hey, can you please hire me? I want to be in the train service, so I think it's important to also work for somebody who definitely cares about your growth, cares about your progress, cares about you as a human being, because you don't want to work with someone who just looks at you as a laborer, especially in this field, because you'll create a lot of bad habits and you'll hate your life. And it should not be like that. So,
No,
yeah.
I've been bringing up Jeff a lot recently. So Jeff JDem on Instagram, right? Incredible installs, blew up early on. He's been on there forever. He made a post a couple times and he's like, if you don't love what you do, if you don't love this trade, get out. He's like, I'm just telling you right now because you're going to hate it the rest of your life. But obviously you need to try, right? So like like you said, you had some bad experiences. A lot of people have had bad experiences, and it's not really the work. Like, if you enjoy the work, if you think it's interesting, if you can see yourself doing it, the work environment is a whole different thing. You can go to 3, 4, 5 different bad companies and then find a good one after that. Like, you never know because it's the people. So I used to deal with that too. Now I worked for my dad, so I knew I was going to stay in it and, just work hard and try to make the most out of it. But like, you see guys at the supply house or you see guys out and you try to be friendly with them. And even that part of it is like, oh, you're competition. I don't want to help you. I don't want to, deal with you and all this. I dealt with that a lot and I was a kid. So I guess they saw me as a kid too. But like that always rubbed me the wrong way. Like, why do we have to be like that? Right. Cause even now, like, we're okay with other companies. We're okay with other trades. Like, we talk to a lot of them. And when we give them the benefit of the doubt, like, and if anything, like, networking, I think helps you in the long run. Cause I have buddies that will give me work that they don't want. I'll give them work that I don't want. And it's like it's just a good relationship. That was the one aspect I didn't like, was either in the company itself pushing out kids or the competition. Like, oh, you're a competition. Like, I don't want to help you. I don't want to talk to you. That was always the worst feeling when I started. That's why I really have enjoyed the online community, right? On Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's been fantastic.
Cool. It's so cool, isn't it? So cool. Yeah. To go off of what you were saying with the company, I work for Train, obviously, and I'm not just saying this because I work for Train, but they're a great company, and I'm sure that, many others will agree with me. And it's very important to, like I said, establish that good company to work for. And the word that you said, networking, that's been huge for me. Not being shy, not just showing up to work and just going to work and then going home. So networking for you is, other companies, hey, you want to take this job, you want to take that job. For me, it's not really like that because obviously I work for a corporate company. I don't own my own company, but networking in a company like Train is awesome because you can go from, technician to project manager to service manager. If you want to go into safety, if you want to go into sales, there's like a whole different world in HVAC. And I think that's the beauty of it too, that you're not just stuck as a technician working with your hands and your body all day. I think the beauty of this field is that you can go, let's say you get an injury and it's like, you know, hurting you, or the field has been rough on you. You don't have to stay in the field. You have other options to go and be in an office job and stuff like that. I know that's not for some people. I'm just saying that for me, networking is definitely important, especially in the company, because establishing relationships is important if you want to eventually see yourself at that level. So I don't want to keep you off track here, but I have an Outlook email, right? And it's everybody in Train can see my JohnnyChillHVAC and then my picture. And I have like a suit and tie on for my Outlook email. And my dad was like, you guys send emails back and forth. He's like, do you have a profile picture? I'm like, no. He's like, you should put a profile picture so that when you go into the office, these other salesmen, these account managers, these project managers know who they're talking to. When you go into the office, like, oh, there's that kid, JohnnyChillHVAC. He's the one who, started up that equipment or got us out of that warranty jam. Like, you put a face to the name for your company, and it's like, you already stand out amongst these other guys. And networking, establishing relationships with people in the office. Some people are going to laugh at me like, oh no, F those guys. Like, we don't need to get close with those guys. Like, and that's fine. That's how some people think. And that I'm the opposite. If you treat me with respect, I'll treat you with respect in the office, establish a relationship, and who knows where it could take me, so don't just be a face at work, become a memory is the quote that I just was thinking, like, after my dad, passed, I'm thinking what, how can I really establish a saying for myself to live off of? And so that's kind of what networking, it's just don't be a shadow, engage, network, talk with people, because this field, you can go so far in this field. And I feel like if you have that mindset, you're unstoppable. This field could take you to places that you wouldn't even imagine. And I see it in my company, some of these guys, and it's rewarding. It really is.
Yeah, that's great. And that's, something that can be discussed or elaborated on, because I've always said that too. Like, if you want to get into the trades, it does not have to be any certain, type of job. It can be many different kinds. Like you said, you can be behind a desk, you can work in manufacturing, distributing, at the supply houses. You can also do tech support. You can do any level, whether it's industrial, commercial, residential. You can just be an installer, a service tech, whatever you want to be. Like, there's so many avenues to do it. And I feel like any kind of person that is in the trade can find something that they like. Me personally, I was, like you mentioned, I can't be in an office. I can't sit still. That's what drove me nuts during school. Like, I was going for, I think it was electrical engineering. And I was like, this is cool. This is what I like, right? I like that kind of stuff growing up. I don't know. School is something that was also hard for me. Like, I got good grades in high school, but I hated, doing that kind of stuff. So once I learned about the trades, and I'm like, oh, you can travel, you can go work on different things, you can go do stuff. That really intrigued me. I jumped on it so quick. I was like, yeah, let's do that. So there's something for everybody, but I feel like a lot of it is people of the same mindset. Like, you want challenges, you want new things, you want, diversity in the kind of work that you do, and you can jump around. Like we said, doing different things in this trade. So I have friends that are counter guys. I have friends that are in distributing, supply houses. I have, try to make friends with everybody, and it benefits you in the long run as well. But
and you can own your own business like you.
Yeah,
about that one.
So I learned that when I was going to trade school, I thought everybody's end goal was, hey, I got a business, right? I run my own business. But then I realized, that's not everybody's goal. So I had a couple of teachers that worked for the school, right? They did like the mechanical room, the chiller, like they actually worked there fixing that stuff or maintaining it, whatever. And I had a couple that owned a business. So then we got to pick their brain and see the benefits of both, right? Either, I will say, running your own business is not for everybody. There's a lot of headaches, a lot of other things that go with it, but it can be worth it if you want that. But you can also just have a really good job somewhere with benefits and high pay and seniority and all this other stuff that goes with it. And I learned that in trade school. Like you could do whichever one and be super happy and well off doing either one. So my thing is, like, everybody's success looks different, right? We've always wanted to be a small business. I get bashed on sometimes from some guys that I know, like, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. You need to have 30 to 40 trucks out there like I do and this and that. It's just not me. Like, everybody's different. You can do whatever you want to in this business. I'm pretty, happy where we're at. Small business, family business, going on 20 years. Really proud of what my dad did. And that's me. You're different. Everybody listening to this is different. You
That's
have
right.
your own goals, your own expectations, and you can achieve those and way more doing this.
Never compare yourself to somebody.
Yeah.
And then also, speaking to you listeners, everyone is always going to have something to say, whether you're
Always.
whether you're posting on Instagram, TikTok, wherever it may be, in the comments, at work. Like you said, other competitors, you should have 30, 40. Everyone's always going to have something to say. Just
Yep.
keep doing you and never get discouraged because, that's just life. No matter where you're at, whatever company, whatever job, relationship, friends, everyone's always going to have something to say. In this field, just stay grounded, stay true to yourself, and do what you want to do. Because, like me and Adrian are saying, there are so many avenues to this, and there's no right or wrong way to go about HVAC. And that's the beauty of it, really. That's what I have to
You
say.
gotta work hard and stay humble. That's the only way
Yeah.
to get anywhere. I don't know. I feel like you and even the guy that I had on, or the guys that I had on before this, everybody's different. Everybody's mindsets are different. Everybody's lifestyles, like the way you perceive your life, your goals, your career, they're all different. So again, like you said, like don't take anything too personal with anything online or even in person. Everybody has different goals. So what I wanted to say first, I forgot. Your other thing is being better and just improving and things like that. Like, all you have to do is try a little harder every day, get a little bit better every day, even if it's 1%, whatever it is, and it'll add up, right? Like, you might not see it the next day, you might not notice how much better you are, but look at yourself like a year ago or 2 years ago, whatever it is. Like, you've come a long way if you just try every day to be a little bit better. So that adds up really quickly. I try to tell people that, because you said it here, don't compare yourself, because that will eat at you. You see it on Instagram, you see it everywhere. They do fantastic work. They didn't just get there overnight. Like, that's years of work that they did, learning and doing their own thing. And you might be starting out and you're like, that's how I have to be. That doesn't happen overnight. So yeah, never compare yourself. You can always have this like friendly competition, like, oh, I want to be there at some
Yeah.
point, right?
Yeah.
You want to do that at some point, but just be better every day, be a little bit better. I like to say to have these like small goals, like reachable goals that you can knock down and feel better. And that's how you see progress. Don't compare yourself to like some of these guys you see that have been doing it like 20 years and expect to be that in a day or in a week. It takes time to
Yep.
get there.
Yep. This field definitely does take some time to learn, and don't get discouraged. I always say that because in the beginning I was like, why am I not there yet? It takes time. This is not an easy field. It's a lot mentally. There's a lot of things to remember. There's a lot of things to learn. So yeah, day by day, 1%. I love that saying, 1% better each day.
And I tell people it's the littlest things, right? Like, did you use tie straps for your wiring? Did you tidy up this? Did you clean that? When you're doing a maintenance, are you keeping an eye on everything? Are you cleaning it thoroughly, taking it apart, doing all this, like all these little things, putting all the screws back? Can't tell you how
Yeah.
many times I've seen a unit with like one screw and it needs like 20. So, you never know. So always, and another thing I've always said is always act. And I've been telling my guys now because we have 3 new guys this year. Always act like somebody's watching you, like over your shoulder. And I only say that because it's actually happened to me literally,
My
right? Like I've
dad, that
had,
was my dad's thing. I'm sorry to
really?
interrupt you, but my dad was like, there's always somebody watching you.
Okay.
He says, even when you think you're by yourself, there's always somebody watching you. I'm sorry I had to interrupt you because I'm like,
No, it's great.
that's brought me
Because,
back to what my dad would say.
and I think what made me realize that was I've had these customers that just give you like a hard time and they'll be on your shoulder. And my whole thing in my early career was always like, I don't want for somebody to come to that, whatever job I did, for somebody to come back, whether it's the restaurant owner, management, a coworker, or another
Yeah, the
company,
next day. Yep.
right? They can't say one bad thing about what I did. That was my whole thing. I was like, you cannot say that I cut corners or I did something wrong or I lied about something. You can't say anything bad about what I did. Maybe my braze joint wasn't the prettiest, but like I did the work, right? I pulled a vacuum, I tested it, I did everything. That was my mindset. And then I've told people like always act like somebody's watching you over your shoulder or that
Yep.
somebody's going to come and inspect your work because you never know. I always had that thing where I thought, when I work on something, I'm the only guy that's going to work on it. They're only going to call me like I'm their technician, right?
Oh,
That doesn't happen. They
yeah.
call other second opinions or somebody else goes in at some point and you got to be careful because they'll, again, like I said, competition down here. They will rat you out real quick. They'll be like, so-and-so
Oh,
did this, they want your job and this and that. Like they'll rat you out real quick. So, that's been my advice to the guys that are coming in and, just if it takes a few more minutes, tidy up the wiring, tidy up this and that, like just put everything back together the way it was and make sure that it looks good. So that goes a long way, I think.
yeah. Who taught me that actually was my brother-in-law's brother who taught him. His name is Nick, and he was a team leader in the South. And I always feel like I have to give credit because I wouldn't be
Yeah.
anywhere where I'm at today without these guys. I had a lot of mentorship, luckily in this field. And Nick, he's a seasoned vet as well, and he always went above and beyond and did the extra mile. And it really showed me how, like, okay, put all these screws back in the door. Don't just leave the one out, and clean the inside of this control panel and leave it as if like the next person who goes like, oh, Johnny was here. What the heck? Like, what the heck? He didn't clean up after himself or he didn't put the screw in. Like, oh, what kind of tech is that? So shout out to Nick. He definitely, gave me that mindset of like, hey, someone else is going to be here after you. And most of the time, some of the time it's
Yeah.
not going to be you and you're going to look like an idiot. He's like you said, pretend that someone's always going to be there after you. There's always somebody watching you. And that's where pride comes in. And as long as you're leaving the job site and you're proud of it, I think, that also goes a long way in this field. So yeah, I agree with what you said.
I can't tell you how many times I've gone up to a roof and we're the second opinion, right? And there's like boxes of parts laying around. There's contactors chucked around. I went to one that had like 3 or 4 compressors by the roof hatch. So they didn't even bother like taking them down after replacing them. And our first initial walkthrough, I had to tell them, okay, we're going to clean your roof up because there's a mess up here, right? So those are the kinds of situations you want to avoid, right? Because then the customer just gets pissed. Like, why did they leave this mess? Why did they do that? I've had in the past where the manager, and I had one recently, I forgot what job it was, but like some of those managers will go up there. They're going to climb the ladder. They're going to,
Yeah.
risk it
Yeah.
and go and look at your work, right? So it does happen.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. This guy, is this guy going to follow me up the ladder? Probably not. I'm going up the ladder. The guy's following me up the ladder. So definitely you definitely gotta be sharp. You gotta be on your.
And the other thing, because my dad had a similar thing, right? So, that was kind of my thing was like, as if somebody's watching you. My dad, because he recently told one of the guys, he's like, remember, most of these places have cameras. And that's extremely common now, even in a residential home, right? Everybody has cameras now. So like he made that point. I just always said mentally, just, imagine. But yeah, there's cameras. I had one recently that I had to kind of talk to the customer because he was like, yeah, one of your new guys, hands in his pockets, standing around. Am I getting billed for this? Like, whole other thing. He's like, Adrian, I have cameras. I was like, all right, I'm going to get both sides. I'll talk to my guys, we'll handle it. Had to do some customer service on that one, but like that they're watching. There's cameras. I had a guy that I talked to because I was asking him, I was like, I've seen these and I'm pretty sure I saw it on TikTok. Guys go up into an attic and there's like a Ring doorbell camera there too. Like they put cameras in the attics now too.
Just for us. They're so special.
It's those bad apples. It always comes back to that because you got people screwing over customers and it makes all of us look bad. Irritates the hell out of me, but it happens.
I saw a video of this kid and it's like a viral video on Instagram and he's playing music in the attic and it's like he's pretending to hit something on the duct and like pretending to be working up there and it's like getting paid to basically like,
I feel like I've seen that one.
Yeah, you definitely have. Cause like there's even people that aren't in the HVAC field. They're like, this is what I pay for. Like, are you kidding me? Like this is actually what happens. I'm like, what?
And that's the bad thing about social media, right? There's a lot of good, but there's some bad apples. Cause I feel like I've seen that. I feel like I've seen that one, but I think I've seen others also where they're being like snarky, sarcastic, like, oh, like, the customer's going to pay for this, or they're going to, they're like, oh, I'm just going to kill time because I want to charge so much or whatever. And I think I've seen several of those where they're just hanging out in the attic. And that's why you hear now that there's cameras up there. So it makes sense.
And they're telling on themselves. They're freaking making videos telling on themselves. Like they're not, you shouldn't be proud of something like that. When you're like, oh, callbacks, unlimited money glitch. Like, huh? How are you thinking that way? Like as a human, how are you thinking that way?
There's definitely been some doom scrolling where I just get super irritated when I see those.
Just like, all right, I guess that's where we're at now.
Did you start over on TikTok or what social media did you start on?
I started on TikTok. You want me to go into how I started posting?
Yeah, I was like, how did you get into that?
Okay, so I was always like out of the friend group, out of my friends, I was always the one recording everybody, making videos, making memories. Yep, I was that guy. And just because I loved having, pictures and memories of everybody. And even looking back then when I saw my friends, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you got that. Like, that's awesome. So
I wish I had some of the old pictures that I had growing up, like high school and college years.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's good that you document because like you can look back at it later. So I wish I had more pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people that's not just who they are and that's fine. But me, I'm like, I love that stuff. I love creating videos. So I was always on Snapchat, sending my friends videos at work, whether it would be like funny videos or like informative videos. And then they're like, yo, you should post. Like my friend Matt, he's like, you should start posting these videos. And I'm just like, I don't know if I should. Like, I'd be scared what people think. I was kind of just doubting myself, like, oh, I'm kind of new. I don't really know, and this was like, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, or not even 2 years ago. And I'm like, you know what? Fine. I'll make a TikTok. I don't know why I chose TikTok over Instagram. I think because Instagram, I had a lot of the people who follow me, I went to high school with. And I'll admit, like I was like nervous at first, like what people would think of me. And I was like that. I have
I will say I would much rather a stranger watch my content than somebody like locally or one of my friends. Like
right.
It's different.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, all right. I'm glad I'm not the only one, but, yeah, dude. So I'm like, you know what? Let me make a TikTok. There's not many people on there that I know. And then, it started to go really well. In the beginning, I had one viral video. I was changing out a condenser fan, blade and motor, and it was like 100 degrees out. I remember that day. And I'm like, I couldn't get this blade up. And I'm like, I could get it up, but not the blade. It was like some funny, something like that. Like, and a lot of people were like, dude, like you got to use a puller and stuff like that. And I'm like, dang, like a lot of people are kind of, they love the video. And then there was a lot of hate on the video. So I'm like, oh, but I gained so many views and followers from that. And like a lot of people were like, how'd you get into HVAC? How did you do this? Like, what did you use to do that? So I'm thinking like, oh, I'm kind of like helping people here a little bit. And I was getting DMs and stuff. So I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. And then I just kept sticking with it. My brother-in-law Joe would always tell me, keep posting. My sister Heather, keep posting. My friends, Matt, Vinny, all of them, they would just be like, keep posting your videos. Like they're pretty good. So on TikTok, I was gaining a lot of traction, a lot of comments, a lot of DMs saying like, hey, like I need help here. How did you start out? And so that for me, that's what like was like, all right, I got this. Like social media is my thing. I'm a big people person. Everybody always says like, I like talking to people. I like making friends with anybody who needs help. And my dad was big on helping people. He would always want to help people. And, he'd always watch my videos because I made him get a TikTok. Well, I didn't make him, but he's like, where are you making these videos? Or like TikTok. And so I had to help him make one. And, he would watch them and he'd call me and he's like, oh, I thought that was so cool. You're showing them how to put your harness on and be safe at work and going up the ladder and doing it right. He's like, you're showing so many people like the good side of the trade. Like keep doing your thing. I think that is what kept me to even go even more and not care what people think. And I was like, all right, like my dad's loving these videos and he's calling me about them. He's asking me about them because he wasn't in the HVAC trade. He was big into like security. So he would ask me questions and he would be on TikTok, like going through like easy HVAC questions. He's like, oh, I got 8 out of the 10 right. Like, let me see you take this quiz, And so then I would start doing like more of the funny side of the videos. I made this character Sheila and it was like a customer in her basement. And I was just having fun with
I've
it.
seen those.
Yeah, I was just having fun with it. And, I was making a lot of people laugh. I love making people laugh. Like, that's just, I don't know. And I found like my thing. And then I'm on CapCut, I'm editing these videos and I was like, damn, this is actually fun, like putting stuff together and then, people actually liking it and I'm helping people and they're enjoying it. Yeah, that's
awesome.
kind of what got me going. And then as of recently, I started posting on Instagram a lot more. So before September, I started to a little bit. But then I had taken 2 months off from my father. I took family medical leave. So the 2 months I wasn't posting at all. And then a lot of people are like, hey, where'd you go? Like, where's Johnny Chill? Like
That's
in the comments.
Yeah, people will notice when you're gone.
But
it's crazy. And I think I had first seen I guess it was the Sheila ones. I'm like, who is this kid? So that was my first impression. And then I had to go through the videos and great content because you go through, because for me, it's difficult. I've never looked at myself as like an educator or somebody to teach people, but through social media, you can do that. Like you said, you help a lot of people. You get messages, you get comments, and people look to you for help or advice or just seeing what you do and how you do things. As little as that, as like, how do you work on this, kind of equipment? What kind of tools you buy, what kind of tools you use? Like the littlest things can help a kid getting into the trade or anybody getting in. I've always found that difficult. And you've been doing, some step-by-step things and I've told people before, because like even if you're just changing filters or your first year, second year, you have something to offer somebody that doesn't know anything, right? Like you might think it's stupid, like, oh, I'm going over the basics. Like everybody knows this.
Yeah.
There's new guys that don't know that. So it's always helpful and everybody, has their own personality. I wanted to talk about some of that, culture or whatever you want to call it. Like some people will like you and not like another creator, or like everybody gets drawn to different people, right? So you might be somebody's favorite content creator and you wouldn't even know it because, you're just like, I'm just being me, this and that. But everybody's different. Everybody gets drawn to different things. That can be helpful for somebody. They can either follow somebody that's super technical or they can follow somebody that they can, because I think one of the compliments I've gotten is like that I make it simpler. And I'm like, well, I'm not trying to act like I'm some sort of genius. Like it's what I how I learn, how I understand things, how I, talk about things. So I've gotten that compliment. So, people that watch you just relate to you, and they either find you funny or can learn because of the way you actually do content. So that's always a good thing.
Yeah. I just, I like to keep it basic because, everybody started somewhere. And so my target audience, for the most part, when I'm explaining basic schematics or like refrigeration components, is like, because I was in their shoes at one point where I'm like, I don't know what the heck that is. And so it's like, I don't want people to be discouraged by looking at the basics, because I know that there's some people out there, they're just starting and they have no idea what anything is. And so that's like my target audience, I feel like, because I'm not like some of these other guys, like Tony, for example. That guy is a freaking genie whiz, right?
And he's one of
And
the
so
newer guys, because it's Tony, Ty Brenneman, Craig Migliaccio, all these guys that like are just really good at teaching and explaining everything. Tim DeStagio is also a good one. They can talk your ear off about any particular subject, and it's like, and I guess I used to get intimidated too, because I started posting too, and I'm like, I'm not these guys. I don't know how to do stuff like they do, but that's not necessary. Anybody that wants to post should post.
it's your content. I actually got a comment from a coworker not the other day, but a little while back. He's like, yeah, your videos aren't that, they're like very basic, not that informative. I'm like, okay. Like,
And
and like, I don't like, I'm not going to get into something that I don't fully know 100%, and bull
well,
crap my way through. Yeah, dude, there are like some things where I'm like, I, I have no idea,
yeah,
and, just like, that's why what my videos are, they're, I like to label them as like me being, myself, some comedy thrown in there, whether I think it's funny or not. Some people are like, you dude, what the F are you doing? And that's fine too, because that's who I am. I was
yeah.
always like the weird or crazy one growing up, because I wasn't afraid to be myself. I was always like, outgoing, but, and I'm not talking myself up at all. I'm just saying, like, that's kind of how I was viewed. My family, like, "Oh, you're funny. You make these videos. Like, you should post it now. Like, and then now the fact that I was doing it for fun, I'm getting all these direct messages and stuff. Thank you so much. Like, your videos have helped me. Uh, like, even some kid sent me like a pair of Ray-Bans because he's like, dude, your videos have helped me. Like, let me send you a freaking Christmas present. I said, what the heck? Like, are you sure? He's like, dude, like, please, like, I work for them. Like,
Oh,
dude,
okay.
your videos really helped me. Like, and it's not going to cost me much. I'm like, oh, shoot, man. Like, all right. Like, if that's what you want to do, like, and it's just stuff like that, I think, that keeps me going. And I can't get to every direct message and to every DM. I haven't because there's definitely a lot that I haven't gone through. And that's why I preach my Discord, because I'm like, hey, if you guys want to ask me questions and stuff like that, I can't get to everything. It's impossible. I'd have no life, just like I'm
Yeah.
sure you as well. So I try to promote my Discord, and then if you guys have questions, there's people on my Discord that have similar experiences of how to get into the trade, or questions about residential and stuff like that. So like now I'm like big on like helping, and then still also creating my own niche towards my videos of being silly or whatever you want to call it myself. So yeah, man, it's been a fun ride posting, that's for sure.
For my mental health, I kind of started to not look at the comments every day, or just, live on those apps, because it drives you nuts.
Yeah.
And you're going to get, no matter where, you're going to get negativity. So online, it is just amplified, and they get to hide behind a screen or whatever it is. So
I have to be careful with what I say and how I say it and what I post and how I post it, because they are watching everything that I am doing. Everything.
So in this trade, I think you bring up a good point. In this trade, no matter if you're a technician or a business owner, you're representing somebody or some company, right?
Yeah.
So you cannot, and that's why I say, like, I don't ever, like, if I get name called, or I get
Rare. Yeah,
an ugly comment, you don't reply and argue in that same tone, right? If I do argue, it's like, well, I did it this way because of whatever, or I'll give like an explanation, or I'll ask them, what would you do? I'm just trying to learn. Never be negative, but that also happens like at work. But like customers, you can't argue with customers. I mean, it gets you nowhere. Like you can't, they call you something, you can't call them an idiot or anything back. You're like, it's going to get you nowhere. It's going to get you in trouble, right? No matter who started it.
That's right.
I have some guys that I've seen, and when I see them falling for that trap, like I shake my head. I'm like, no, like don't, you fell for it. Don't do that. I recently saw it on it was somebody that always likes to give me a hard time. And I saw that their Google reviews, they like to go in there and clap back. And I'm like, dude, that's not a good look.
It's not.
So
It's not.
you got to be careful. Just that's my whole thing is like, whether you're a technician, that's why I tell my guys, if something happens, walk away, tell me, I will go and fight for you and talk to the customer. So whether, and social media is a whole other thing now because everybody's on it and you can get fired over a social media thing like real quick. So be careful.
Yep.
But whether you're a technician, business owner, you're also on social media or with a customer, like choose your battles because that never helps either side. And you got to be careful with that.
Yeah. Don't feed into it.
It's always, I feel like it's always a trap. Never works.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to be the one in the beginning to clap back. And I'm like, nah, what am I doing? Let's not do that. I'm not like them.
My dad was my grandfather was a hothead. My dad got it from him here and there. My dad's been in a lot of fights growing up. I've heard these stories. Yeah, I've heard these stories. I've seen it a little bit when I was like super, super young. So they had that kind of,
times were different back then.
Yes. Bar fights, everything.
No cameras, stuff like that. Stories are like, all right, you definitely wouldn't get away with that here nowadays.
Very different, right?
Yeah, very different.
And I got a little bit of it too. So my dad knows me and I usually try to walk away. So that's my whole thing is like, if I just explode there, it's not going to be good, right? It's because even recently I have this old man that pisses me off at a location. I won't even say what kind of location because of the paperwork he requires for us. I'm like, dude, I can do this digitally. I can do emails. I got to print like 50 pages every time. It pisses me off. So, and then he loses the paperwork when I give it to him. That one he tried to pin on me. And I'm like, dude, I literally handed it to you. You were at your desk. Like, don't blame me.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole thing with this guy, right? So recently he had another excuse and I told my dad, where is he? I'm going to go talk to him. He's like, no, don't even go. Because I was like, oh, like, it was getting to me, but it never ends well. You got to keep your composure.
Yeah. Keep your composure.
So,
very well said. Yep.
Customer service has been one of those things that I had to learn because I thought commercial was no customer service, just do good work, but it doesn't go that way.
Hey, well, dude, that's the whole thing. You don't take it the wrong way. You live and you learn and you get better. Customer service. It's like, it's not like a thing you're going to learn right away.
For somebody like me, like you said, you were always personable. You were, friendly with everybody. I was the opposite. So this is a lot for me. Even doing social media is a lot for me. And the only reason that I continue to do it is because of those messages, that I get, right? Like those comments. That's the reason I keep doing it. If it was up to me, I would just kind of block it out and like disappear. But we're here.
Yeah, and you're doing a phenomenal job, dude. You're setting the precedent like some of these other big guys, and I consider you up there with them. And everything you're doing with the podcast, the YouTube, how you carry yourself. Look what you're doing right now, dude. This is gold for some of these guys listening and coming up, and this is all positive stuff that you're doing. And you have your work to show for it, and what we're doing right now is living proof that what you're doing is for the greater good. So you got my respect, brother.
I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, I've gotten some comments every now and then that kind of relay that message, and I always tell them like thank you because I don't know, I'm just doing this, and it started for fun. It started just having a conversation with guys, and again we talk about community, or we mentioned it earlier. the
Yeah.
community is great. Like having these guys like yourself, all the guests that I've had that are like-minded, they work hard, they do things, they want to do things the right way, they want to help others. That's just that's the best. Like I love having these conversations and seeing that, and that's kind of why I do this, is just to have this conversation for other people to listen to, and they get something out of it. And I'm sure a lot of guys that watch you on TikTok, they're going to see it and they're like, that's my favorite content creator, and we get to hear him talk for an hour.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's definitely, it makes me feel good that I'm doing something. It's like like you said, you started out doing it just for fun, but then like you get these comments, you get these messages this long on your phone. And
It's
I'm
a
like,
responsibility now.
bigger than me now. That's
Yeah.
what I was about to say. It's bigger than me. And I remember posting a screenshot. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I block out your name? Like, I just want to post. And I'm like, and I posted it on my story. I'm like, what I'm doing is bigger than me now. I never expected my videos to impact people the way that they are. And it's like, it's kind of silly for me to like think about it at first, because I'm like, dang, like I never thought I would be like a teacher, which I'm not. But I never
Yeah.
thought I'd be like, someone for someone to look up to in a trade like HVAC, where I'm still learning. I still feel new. And it's like, wow, like you said, dude, like you started just to have fun, but now it's you have a responsibility.
And that's been my whole thing. It's like, if you're a filter changer, if you're in your first year, like somebody relates to that. Like there's so
Yeah.
many of us out there, somebody relates to it. Cause even like myself, just really quick, cause I had a meeting the other day, and we had to do those little intros like, hi, my name is, I do this, whatever. And I had a fellow podcaster that I look up to in that meeting, and I got over with mine and he was next, and he's like, he's selling himself short. I was like, his HVAC Nights podcast is the best podcast. I listen to it every week and this and that. And it's like, I never know how these are affecting people until they tell me, right? So like,
Right.
even that one, I'm like, I don't know. I told Jake, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but let's just try it. And some people look forward to that every week, to a point where I feel bad if we miss a week. And that's why that whole responsibility comes in, because like there are people that look up to you. There are people that just enjoy talking to you, whether it's through messages or comments or whatever. Like,
Right.
somebody out there is benefiting from it. So that's what I love about it. And it's cool to see. Cool to see what you've done. It's not easy. I'm sure you already know that. And, just keep doing what you're doing, because like I said, the first video, I didn't know what to expect. And then I dove into your TikTok, and I'm like, oh, I like the content. So
I
love what
appreciate
you're doing over there.
Thank you, Adrian. Appreciate you. Same to you.
Do you have any hobbies or anything else that keep you kind of sane after work?
Absolutely. My girlfriend, Tatiana, shout out to her. She's been my rock. She has got me through a lot of tough and hard times.
I feel like you need that rock in what we do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't even begin to explain how great she is for me, keeping me on my toes, keeping me doing the right thing. And then I have my dog, Rue. He's a Chihuahua cattle dog mix. I would take him for walks and stuff after work. It's always important to make time for yourself, especially in this field. It could be stressful and hard on your body. I play video games with my buddies from high school. My friend and I play video games a lot. David, shout out to him. He's like a brother to me. Play video games with him from time to time. Not as much recently, just because I have so much going on, going through my dad's storage, going through his stuff. It's like in the basement. So that's kind of been like my hobby per se right now. It's going through all the stuff that he had. But I was going to Muay Thai for a while. I was able to train Muay Thai for a little bit right down the street, but then I stopped going because overtime in the summer, work.
Yeah.
And then my dad got a little sick, so I just, priorities. But definitely have to try to make time for yourself and get into a hobby, because you can't have this trade be your entire life. So at least for me, because there comes a time where you do overtime for 3 or 4 days in a row. Like I need a break from HVAC. Like, all right, too much of anything is, for me at least, is too much. Like you got to take a break, if you're doing something too much. You see this? This is me time. This whole den in the basement. I have my gaming PC right here. I have my flat screen TV. I have my chair here. This is me. My girlfriend hates coming down here, and so does my dog. My dog can't stand it. It is kind of like, it's not a finished basement, but I made the
Yeah.
best of it, so you definitely got to make some me time. So this is my me time.
And I think this was his quote. You don't live to work, you work to live, right? You don't want to be tied to your job 24/7. You got to turn the switch off. And that's what I've been trying to tell guys. Cause like, even my dad does, he's been doing this trade forever. He was an electrician before this, before food service. So
Okay.
always just worked hard. Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, take a break. I was like, you have employees, like, train somebody, do something. Let the guys, which I'm trying to do myself too, like let the guys do and get their hands on everything and do the work. But it's hard for him, right? Because that's all he knows. Again, I butt heads sometimes with guys that are like, you should be, because they're posting that they're working at midnight and like every day and weekends, and I'm like, I'm
Good for
sorry,
you.
I
Yeah.
don't want. Yeah, I'm like, good for you. I don't
Yeah.
want that. I want to
Yeah.
spend the weekends with my kids or doing, hobbies around here, whatever it is. Like my phone's always going to be on because I have to run a business, but I'm trying to make a
Absolutely.
lot of it automated. And then I'm trying to have my weekends off. Like this guy trying to shame me into, working 24/7. I'm like, it's not going to work. I was like, I want
Yeah.
my time. Right. So you gotta make time for yourself.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely important because, this field is stressful at times. So you gotta take care of you. That's for sure.
Is there anything you want to kind of close on? I know we've actually been here quite a while.
Basically, dude, this is my first podcast. I feel like, you know,
And I'm
to,
honored.
yeah, dude, thank you so much. I really am very grateful for this opportunity for you to have me on your platform, for as big as it is, for as important as it is. It really truly is an honor for me. And I'm going to remember this as my first podcast ever. And I feel like we're trying to grow, right? Also, we're trying to better ourselves. And I feel like social media definitely plays a part in that because, you see yourself grow, you see people looking up to you, like you said. And it's good to set like little goals and stuff like that. So I feel like this is just the beginning of something great for both of us because we're still striving to be better. We're not at our end where like this is it for us. I feel like doing stuff like this for me at least is definitely so important for me. And again, I'm so grateful. I like really this is I'm very happy to be on this podcast, man, and then everything that you're doing. It's really appreciative, and it's definitely going to help me. And you inspire me to start a podcast like this. I've always had people in my ear. You should start a podcast, but maybe in the near future. But right now, I like doing what I'm doing. I like the videos that I'm posting and enjoying the helping people alongside of it. And then obviously networking with people like you. This is amazing, dude. And I sound like a broken record, but basically, dude, just, thank you so much. And I'm truly grateful and honored to be on this podcast, Adrian.
Yeah, man. I appreciate all those kind words. It means
Yeah.
a lot. But I had you on my list. I have like a list of people that I do reach out to. 'Cause I get a lot of volunteers, which I'm grateful for. I'm so glad that this podcast helps people, and so many people want to, either be on it or just they
Yeah,
listen to it on their drive, or people listen to it at work. So it's great to hear that. But I do have a little list. So you were on the list, and I
that's
was waiting to
awesome.
get you on, and I've
Thank
been
you.
following you for a little bit. So I'm happy to see what you got going on and everything you're doing. So can't wait to see if you do, you know, venture out to more content, more kinds of content. I'll make sure to leave a link to your TikTok, your Instagram, so people can find you. Johnny Chill HVAC on those platforms. Make sure to go check that out. Lots of great content. Every time you pop up, I have to stop and watch. It's a good informative video or funny video. Either way, great stuff.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Thanks again for coming on. Everybody watching and listening, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next one.